Hello and welcome. My name is Errity Green and this is Wise Women Oracle and Tarot. And today I am bringing you a pick a card reading on yes or no. Any question, you're going to either get a yes or a no, or the energy is going to guide you in one direction or the other. So you can bring any question that you have to this reading and you will get an answer one way or the other. If you find that you like this reading, I encourage you to like, subscribe, press the bell icon. That way you receive notifications every single time a new reading pops up. If you want to get to know more about me, my work, check out my website. The Spiritual Mentorship Academy is now enrolling for the Professional Spiritual Mentor Certification Program. So do check that out. It is linked below. It's also found at erritygreen.com/theacademy. Without further delay, I will place a picture up of your 3 card piles to choose from today. As always, you are choosing from left to right. All right, card pile 1, we're answering your question today. Any question, yes or no. So I'm going to read from the energy that's here and then we'll summarize with a final yes or no, unless it's very clear right off the bat. So I do sense this could be a maybe because we get some really good energy, but we also have some sort of temptation energy. We do have a card in this deck that is more or less the card of the devil in the tarot, which can show up as temptation or addiction or sort of the things that get in our own way or ego or whatever. We're going to dive in though and we're going to see. So I guess I feel like what it is when it comes to this question is, what is the motivation? I feel like that's what it has to do with. So perhaps you're considering something or making a choice or moving forward on a path or saying yes or no to an opportunity. And it almost wants to know or wants you to explore, well, what is the motivation for this? You know, is your motivation in the right place? So let's dive into this a little bit more. So let me see here. So around this question, right? So the other context that wants to come through is ultimately you get to decide what you want to do with this. Like, you can make anything happen. You are the creator of your own life. You get to make a choice. Like, it's almost like saying, right, we create the garden of our own lives. So no matter what we do, we can make something of it. No matter what we choose, we can make the most of it. No matter what we decide on, there's a silver lining. It's almost like you can make the most of any situation, and or you are the creator, so you get to decide which way this goes, how it goes, and even if anything were to ever hit the fan based on whatever choice, you would be able to create something out of that, right? It reminds me of that feeling of a garden where there is muck in a garden sometimes, or fungus or whatever, and it can always be made into something that is fruitful. You know, there will always be a harvest. It can be beautiful. So I do feel like there's promise and or possibility, not necessarily in whichever choice you choose here or choice you make, but more so in you as the choice maker. Like, no matter what, you're gonna be all right. And perhaps you don't have to put so much pressure on it. And perhaps, you know, you can trust yourself more than putting so much or resting so much on this choice. Yeah, so I think get curious about this choice. Explore both sides from a place of curiosity, as opposed to, like, again, sort of resting, putting all in your eggs in one basket kind of thing, where you're like, okay, this particular thing has to go this particular way for it to matter to me or work out for me, or this particular thing has to go this particular way. If you got to take all that pressure and all that weight or baggage back, it's like, how about just get curious about it? You know, how does it feel? When you explore it more curiously, and you ask yourself, what are like the highest, greatest outcomes, the greatest results, whatever, you know, the good stuff, the things that you might seek or want, what blessings could come of this, you know, what goodness could come of this, what kind of harvest could come of this, and explore it from a place of curiosity of, I wonder how this could work out, or I wonder how this could support me or serve me. So again, asking from a place of more curiosity and exploring it from a place of more curiosity, and knowing that ultimately you get to create whatever garden from any compost, from any fertilizer. If you trust yourself well enough and you're not coming from that motivation of it has to be a certain way or look a certain way or show up a certain way or be this or be that or whatever, I feel like there could be promise in whichever direction you take. Let me see here. I want to sit with your cards here and meditate for just a moment and see what else is here for you. So again, I feel like this particular pile, this is more about how you're perceiving it, the weight you're putting on it, the pressure you're putting on it. You know, that is important when we do that. But when we take our power back and say, ultimately, we get to make this decision and make the most of it or the best of it, whichever way, I think that's going to be sort of the way you want to be exploring this. I feel like there was another message, of course, that came through. And then as soon as I start talking, it leaves. But that's because it just comes and it goes. And if I don't say it, it goes. There was a couple other things here, though, I wanted to speak to. Oh, I do want to mention, though, because the Devil card is here, I don't want to offer a warning necessarily, but I do want to offer an awareness of, hey, this is here. So far, I feel like it's speaking to the motivation, but I also feel like whatever you're asking about, or the opportunity, the choice, the crossroads, there is something here that is not fully known at this point. Meaning, it's not necessarily something to fear, but it's something to be aware of, like, hey, this might not pan out exactly the way that I thought or hoped or expected. Or, hey, not everything is being communicated to me up front directly. Or, hey, I want to discover things down this road that I didn't necessarily expect when I started down this road. Or, hey, not everything is as upfront as I think it is. So I think having that in mind, if you can move forward still with certainty, with confidence, with a recognition that ultimately whatever sort of bed you make or choice you can make for yourself, you can make the most of it or the best of it, I think you're going to be okay. Like, you can make use of this no matter what, no matter which way you choose, or if it's an opportunity as an example that you're deciding to take or whatever. It's like remembering you can take this, use it, perceive it in whatever way you want, even if it goes bad or different from expected, or if it doesn't turn out the way you thought, hoped, were communicated to, right? That could be some of the Devil card. You are still the creator of your life, so you get to do with it what you will, right? So there's an empowerment here of, this doesn't mean it has to be a dead end or a problem or a no necessarily. The information is saying that there's more here than what's being told to you or that's being presented or being shared with you at this time. And yet, you can do whatever the heck you want because it's ultimately your perception. You have the power. You can make the most of it. And you can turn lemons into lemonade. So let's give them a little bit more to work with here. I almost want to pull a clarifying card. Of course, my clarifying deck is all the way over here. I know we've already given you some, but I almost want to say, okay. So it feels like, okay, you can move forward on this. It may not be everything that you had hoped or expected, or maybe not everything is up front, but ultimately it could be something that serves you if you're able to move forward with certainty, confidence, and self-trust, and that you're able to do with it what you will. It's basically saying make it your own, like you make the most of it. Ensure that it serves you. If it's serving you and you know exactly what it's doing, like the needs that it's meeting or how it's serving you, then that's what you're using it as. Does that make sense? So it's like, be aware from the get-go that things may not look or be how they actually are, and yet it's going to serve you in the way that you want, and however it turns out, ultimately the power is still in your hands. Because take a look. I asked for a final clarifying card, and we have this. So there could be possibility here, potential, available. You know, there might be some abundance here for this path, whatever it is you're choosing. There is some goodness, some harvest, some fruit here. With that said, there are some twists and turns that you might not yet be aware of. So it's yes, trusting that, okay, this might be here, knowing, but recognizing it for what it is, right? So an example might be, let's just say you've been offered a job opportunity. I'm not saying that's going to be the case. I want to give you guys a practical example based on the energy that's here, and then you have to apply it to the question that you came in with. But let's just say you're offered a job or a job opportunity, and it's not quite the way that maybe it's being presented, or there's just more to the story, because let's get real, what job description actually matches what you end up doing day in and day out? So maybe it won't be as satisfying. Maybe it turns out to be something else that it wasn't, so on and so forth, or you encounter some roadblocks later. All of that to say, let's just say it's giving you great money. Okay, well then use that to the best of your ability. Recognize what it's here for. It's here to bring some abundance, or even temporary abundance. You're going to make the most of it no matter which twists or turns it takes. And ultimately, if it's not serving you, you let it go. All right. So card pile 1, that is your reading. When we say yes or no, any question, I would say this one is going to be up to you. That's so annoying and painful to hear from a reading, but it's going to be up to you. But know that there's promise, there's potential here. There's even potential abundance for you. And yet you want to check your own motivation for choosing this. You want to explore it with curiosity without putting so much pressure on it. And you want to be aware that it might turn out differently than what you had expected or hoped, but you can make the most of it no matter which way it takes you. All right, card pile 1, do leave your messages or comments in the comments. Like, subscribe, press the bell icon. Do let me know what you think. And of course, the Spiritual Mentorship Academy is open. It is enrolling for the Professional Spiritual Mentor Certification Program, and you can check out those details below. Thank you, card pile 1. All right, card pile 2, yes or no, any question. So I'm going to share and read the energies first, and then at the end, we'll summarize everything based on what's being given. Because I feel like the energies tend to give you it all, and then we have to sort of nail it down and decide, okay, is this speaking to more yes or to more no? Sometimes it's super clear, but okay, so whatever it is you're asking, it's like, I feel like you might not be seeing it clearly, or seeing it, the possibilities here. So maybe in some ways you're not giving this opportunity or this question the benefit of the doubt, or giving it too much credit. I feel like you might not be seeing it, and that maybe you're scared to take the leap, to do the thing. But there could be promise here. There could be some potential here. It's almost like that. What is that saying where it's like, not throw the baby out with the bathwater, but don't jump to conclusions just yet. Because it's saying here, give this some perspective, maybe step away, take some time away, take a breather, take a rest before you jump in or dive in or make any decision. But it wants you to see the situation clearly and cleanly, right? From a horizon kind of view, an eagle's view, as opposed to sort of honing in on something and like maybe evaluating it like we typically kind of tend to do, right? How we look at something and we say, we analyze it, we evaluate it, we assess it, we do pros and cons and all this stuff. And it's saying no, and I think you're being asked at this point to actually step back from it and see it from a factual kind of perspective, right? So instead of looking at it like really looking in and you kind of microscope something, right? I mean, that's not a verb, but you're like looking at it, you're magnifying it, this little detail and that little detail. It's like, whoa, zoom it back and see it from a broader perspective, maybe even the bigger picture. There might be more here than what you're giving credit for. I feel like you fear something here. There's a fear. And so I feel like that's sort of coloring your worldview with this and your filter to where you're scared of losing. You're scared. There's 2 different cards here about being scared of losing, holding your cards, keeping your cards close to your chest, keeping your heart close to your chest, not being willing to present, to show, to give up, to share. This could be a relationship, career opportunity, this is any question. But one way or another, you're keeping your cards close to your chest or your heart, not on your sleeve, up your sleeve, and just like, I don't know, I'm not sure because I don't know. And this is, is this going to result in a loss or whatever? Again, maybe not seeing the possibility or the opportunity or the potential available for you. But it could also be as well that not everything is being presented to you. So that could be a possibility. With that said, I feel like it's more so around not really seeing the possibility in front of you. Like it doesn't have to be taken so seriously or so heavily or with so much pressure. It really, any of that heaviness or the pressure or whatever is from your own fears. And I feel like there's a fear of loss here. You know, what are you scared of losing? And can you take a look at that and be honest with yourself about what the true potential of loss here is. And if you need to look at it this way, make an action plan for that. Say, okay, well, if that does happen, what do I do? And just looking at it from an objective point of view, again, because we got that message about, instead of like zooming in and trying to like get all the details and the minutia, it's about pulling back, being honest, being clear, witnessing it from a broader, higher perspective, and seeing what's actually happening here, not colored by your fears, not colored by your fears of loss, okay? Yeah, I feel like you have some confusion here. I feel like, but it's all in your own head. And I think you know that, right? I think most of you know that. It's why you're here and you're saying, okay, well, it might be in my head, but what are you going to tell me, lady? And I hear you. Basically, it's saying, take an objective look at this, right? Facts, not feelings. Separate it out to determine where your fears might be getting in the way, where your doubts might be getting in the way, where your fear of loss might be getting in the way. And make a choice from that place, which is more empowering than the place of disempowerment of, oh, well, I don't know what's going to happen and I don't know how this is going to work out, or what's the worst case scenario, and the catastrophizing, or I might lose something. It's like when you're keeping all your cards close to your chest, you really can't make a proper decision for yourself because you're making a choice from fear. Let me see what else is here. It's like, keep focused on the good that could happen for you. Okay. On how this could serve you, how this could suit you, what this might do for you. Maybe instead of all the ways that you're focusing on the loss or the fear of loss or what could be taken. There is another message here. I want to pull a clarifier card for you. I feel like this could indicate a yes. The closer we get to it, it could indicate a yes, but I have to be honest with you. For some of you, this might be a yes, but for a good, healthy majority, I feel like you're getting this message of taking a look at this from an objective standpoint where you are pulled back and you have that fuller, higher, clearer view. And it's asking you to make a choice from that standpoint as opposed from fear. So that the question then might be, okay, if you knew you were going to be supported no matter what would you choose? Or if you weren't making a choice from fear or doubt or fear of loss, what would you choose? Or is this aligned with your true dream, what it is that you ultimately want for yourself? And or could this bring you closer to your dream, and how? Or in what way? So I feel like card pile 2, that's the message that's coming through for you. Let me see if there's anything else that wants to be shared here. Yeah, I feel like you're bringing a lot of fear and confusion and loss to this, and it's hard for the opportunity to be clear to you. Let's see if we have anything else here. You know, I think this is indicating where there might even need some healing, or something within you might need some healing, and perhaps that's the opportunity for you right now. So let's go ahead and summarize this. For you, card pile 2, yes or no? You know, there is a couple yes cards in here, but we do have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards that are also fairly neutral, to be honest with you, and very objective, and just want you to take perspective here. I do feel like, you know, I'm not going to lean toward, I don't feel comfortable leaning toward any which way. And of course you're here and that's what you're here for. And I can't offer something that's not here in the cards. Because for some of you, I honestly think it might turn out to be yes. And for some of you, it might turn out to be no. And I think it's because, number one, some of you are going to be able to make a choice from a standpoint that's not in reactivity or fear or emotions. Some of you won't. And for some of you, it might not turn out to be the right choice for you once you do back up and look at it cleanly and objectively. But that's the message here. When you say yes or no, any question, what I can say is you're being asked or guided to step back, to look at this from a higher perspective or a bigger picture, look at it cleanly and objectively, and ask some of those questions that we asked before. It's basically getting yourself out of your own way so you can make an objective choice in this situation, as opposed to something that might be more emotional or illogical or reactive or fear-based. I wish I could offer you more, but I'm not really getting any. Yeah, I just see you wrecked with, I mean, look, let me show you some cards. Because, I mean, we could say that it's the opportunity, but I don't feel that. I feel like this is you and all the energy you're bringing to it, and then you can't find the clarity that you need. You know, you're not willing to really look at it or not able to look at it perfectly. You're keeping your cards close to your chest. You're nervous. You're scared. Lost. You fear loss. It feels like more past energy, like you think this is going to do the same thing, so it leads you to confusion because you can't see clearly, and then you're in your mind and can't even find any clarity. So you're being asked instead to focus on this, the broader perspective, and how could this bring you closer to your goals. All right? So do let me know what you decide. Share your story or your experience in the comments. Like, subscribe, press the bell icon. The Spiritual Mentorship Academy is enrolling now for the Professional Spiritual Mentor Certification. If that interests you, do check out the link below. Thank you, Card Pile 2. Okay, Card Pile 3. Any question, yes or no? So what I'm going to do is read the energy first, and then we will summarize with a yes or no. Basically, where is the energy leaning toward, or where is it taking us? Because very rarely do I get a yes or no cleanly in a reading. We get a lot of different energy, and then we have to decide, okay, is this a yes or no? Kind of like we do in everyday life, right? Pros and cons. Then again, there are some piles every once in a while that are blatant no or a blatant yes. So if that's the case, we'll do that too. All right. So I feel like you've been through a season of your life of challenge, difficulty, transition, loss, perhaps old losses, you know, could be a number of or a series of losses. And I feel like you've been doing the healing work and you've been doing what you need to do or whatever. And now here's your opportunity to sort of change, to step out of that, to leave that behind, to start a new chapter, to start over, a new beginning. So perhaps this opportunity or the question that you're bringing is going to have something to do with moving on, or a change of scenery, or doing something different, or leaving something behind. You know, the wheel of fortune is turning, and one way or another, you're demonstrating, you know, this is the new versus the old. So some of you might be, again, leaving something behind that is old or considered old for you. But one way or another, there's a transition happening, a transformation has occurred, and this is an opportunity for you to do different or do something new. Yeah, again, leaving behind, we get a bunch of these cards. Leaving behind a time of, it says winter's end. Let me show you. So what that tells me is a positive outcome, right? It even says that here, a positive outcome. I would say so far out of all the piles, this is the clearer yes. It's not a definitive, defined, like yes, period, but it is leaning towards a yes, like new birth, spring, regeneration, harvest, potential, stuff like that. Where it's like, okay, the old is coming to a close. So perhaps there was, when we say winter, that could be cold, dark, distant. Perhaps things were scarce, you know, winter comes to an end and we know spring is on its way, right? So perhaps in some way you're stepping out of a chapter of what was dark, gray, distant, cold, and stepping into spring. Look at all that harvest. Look at that garden. Look at all that fruit. So whatever this choice or decision or opportunity is, I feel like it's bringing you closer to this. And or if you're making a choice, you're being asked to move toward this, whatever this might be. You know, which choice or which road or pathway is going to bring more of this versus this. Now, if you're asking about a specific opportunity and that's what you're here to discover, then okay, it appears so far that you're moving out of the old energy and into this. Okay? If you were to see this from clarity, freedom, and have a solution-focused mindset, where would that lead you? Which choice would that lead you toward? Okay, like take a look, step into the unknown, Card Pile 3. It's like, yes, you don't know everything that's behind that door. No, you're not going to know exactly what that looks like or what's on the other side. There's no way to know. There's no way to tell. And yet, we know that you're leaving some things behind. We know that you've done some healing work. We saw there was an end to winter and a step into abundance and produce and harvest. And look, yes, it's unknown, so it might be scary and you might be unsure and your footing might be a little unstable and a little bit wobbly because you don't know, but you're ready. You're leaving something behind. So this is a question or a problem or an opportunity or whatever that would involve you leaving that behind and stepping into something else. That's what you want to be stepping into. Yeah, look, healing, creativity, fertility, ocean of eternal love. So I really feel like there's opportunity here, maybe opportunity here that you wouldn't even see at first glance or at face value, because that's more of like a deep sort of subconscious even card. So you might not be aware yet of, what is to come or what will be revealed or how it'll all work out or how it will serve you. But I do feel something here around overall being in a state of winter, whatever form that takes for you, and then stepping out into the light of day, choosing to move toward growth, choosing to move toward the abundance, the fertility, the harvest. And if there's a particular opportunity too that has come your way, it looks like, it appears at this time, if you chose this card pile, that it would be fruitful for you, that it's going to support you. It's going to help you come out of this winter and into a more quote unquote eternal spring. Of course, we'll have many seasons and ups and downs. But overall, I would say a yes. Let me see if we have any other, where's my clarifying deck? What do we do with it? Oh, let's get a clarifier here. Yeah, I feel like this is, a couple final notes here as I pull clarifiers is there is a mastery card here, which tells me, you can make something out of nothing. You can make nothing out of something. You get to make anything your fertilizer. And so it's like not even having to rely on the thing itself, whatever question or opportunity you're answering, really leaving this in your hands. It's basically, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to produce fruit from this? How are you going to produce harvest? And the big keys here, the final lingering advice is, whether you move forward or not, or, as you're gaining some more context, like we're sharing here in terms of your question, a couple final thoughts are not holding on to the past, right? Because you're moving into the future, into the unknown. So you're leaving that behind and really, truly honoring your truest, deepest desires. No longer suppressing those, being 100% honest about what they are, and then moving forward toward those true, deep desires. So card pile 3, that's your reading. I sure hope it lands for you. I would say overall here we have a yes or leaning towards yes, or you get to make it a yes. And as long as it feels like it's carrying you up and out of that past and supporting you in terms of that you're recognizing your own mastery here and that you can make something out of anything, then I think it could be a yes. It's the most yes out of all 3 card piles. So do let me know what you're deciding on or considering. I want to hear your stories below. Like, subscribe, press the bell icon. And of course, the Spiritual Mentorship Academy is enrolling now for the Professional Spiritual Mentor Certification. And you can check out those details below. Thank you, card pile 3.